Good day, ma'am. I am Jeneriel Cagas from BSHM3B, and for this video, I will report in Chapter 16 entitled Formalities of Entry in and Exit from the Philippines. And here's the learning objectives. First, identify various government requirements for foreigners to enter the Philippines. Second, explain the importance of a valid passport when traveling. Third, enumerate the privileges of Filipinos covered by the Balikbayan program. And lastly, discuss the dual citizenship law. Next, Section 10. Non-immigrants must present for admission into the Philippines an unexpired passports or official documents in the nature of passports issued by the government of the countries to which they owe allegiance, or other travel documents showing their origins and identity as prescribed by regulations, and valid passport visas granted by diplomatic or consular officers. Next, non-immigrants must present unexpired passports and valid visas prior to their admission into the Philippines. The Philippine Immigration Act provides 7 visa categories for non-immigrants, namely: first, temporary visitor; second, transit; 3, seaman; 4, treaty trader or treaty investor; 5, foreign government official; 6, student; and lastly, 7, pre-arranged employment. An alien is allowed only one immigration visa category at any given time. Next, there are 3 types of passports, namely: A. Diplomatic passports. These are issued for individuals with diplomatic status or on diplomatic missions, including the President, Vice Presidents, Senate Presidents, Supreme Court Chief Justices, Cabinet Secretaries, Ambassadors, Foreign Service Officers, attaches, and their families. B. Official passports. Government officials and employees abroad without diplomatic missions, delegates to international conferences, or diplomatic status are issued passports except for undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, and judiciary members. C. Regular passports are issued to private persons who are not eligible to diplomatic or official passports, including government officials or employees going abroad for pleasure or other personal reasons. Next, on the other hand, a travel document is a certification containing the description and other personal circumstances of the bearer, issued for direct travel to or from the Philippines and normally valid for short periods or for a particular trip. It is issued only to persons whose citizenship is doubtful and hopeful under the following categories. A. A Filipino citizen returning to the Philippines who for one reason or another has lost his or her passport or cannot be issued a regular passport. B. A Filipino citizen being sent back to the Philippines. C. An alien spouse of a Filipino and their dependents who have not yet been naturalized as a Filipino and who are traveling to the Philippines or is a permanent resident of the Philippines. D. Aliens permanently residing the Philippines who are not able to obtain foreign passport and other travel documents. And lastly, a stateless person who is likewise a permanent resident or a refugee granted such status or asylum in the Philippines. Next, the nationals from the following countries are required to secure visas prior to entry into the Philippines, and these are Albania, Afghanistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Belize, Bosnia, Cambodia, Croatia, Cuba, Egypt, Estonia, Macedonia, Nigeria, Georgia, India, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Laos, Latvia, Lebanon, Libya, Lithuania, Moldova, North Korea, Pakistan, People's Republic of China, Russian Federation, Slovenia, Sudan, Syria, Tajikistan, Tonga, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, and lastly, Federation of Yugoslavia, Serbia, Montenegro. Next, foreign nationals who enter the zone shall be subject to the following restriction. A. They shall leave or depart from the Philippines only through the Subic Bay International Airport. B. They shall not be allowed outside the secured area of the zone except to visit areas outside the secured area but within the zone, provided that they are escorted by BI officers and or Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority or SBMA officers duly deputized by the BI. C. For those who intend to visit areas outside the zone and or extend their stay in the zone for any reason beyond the 14-day period must secure a visa waiver from the Department of Foreign Affairs, provided that upon securing such visa waiver, the restrictions as provided herein shall no longer be applicable. Next, the Alien Registration Act in the Philippines requires non-immigrant foreigners to register for various reasons. These include those who are 14 years old or older at the time of approval and will stay in the Philippines for 30 days or longer. The provision does not apply to those admitted for 60 days or longer. Additionally, parents or legal guardians of an alien child who is below 14 years old and will stay in the Philippines for 30 days or longer are required to register. Next, Section 29. A. The following classes of aliens shall be excluded from entry into the Philippines. First, idiots or insane persons and persons who have been insane. Persons afflicted with a loathsome or dangerous and contagious disease as epilepsy. Third, persons who have been convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude. Fourth, prostitute or procurers or person coming of any immoral purpose. Fifth, person likely to become public charge. Sixth, paupers, vagans, and beggars. And lastly, persons who practice polygamy or who believe in or advocate the practice of polygamy. 8. Persons who believe in or advocate the overthrow by force and violence of the government of the Philippines or of constituted law and authority, or who disbelieve in or are opposed to organized government, or who advocate the assault or assassination of the public officials because of their office, or who advocate or teach principles, theories, or ideas contrary to the Constitution of the Philippines, or advocate or teach the unlawful destruction of property, or who are members of or affiliated with any organization entertaining or teaching such doctrines. 9. Persons over 15 years of age physically applicable for reading, who cannot read printed matter in ordinary use in a language selected by the alien. 10. Persons who are members of a family accompanying an excluded alien, unless in the opinion of the Commissioner of Immigration no hardship would result from their admission. 11. Persons accompanying an excluded person who is helpless from mental or physical disability or infancy when the protection or guard of such accompanying person or persons is required by the excluded person, as shall be determined by the Commissioner of Immigration if otherwise admissible. 12. Children under 15 years of age unaccompanied by a parent, except that such a children may be admitted in the discretion of the Commissioner of Immigration if otherwise admissible. 13. Stowaways, except that any stowaway may be admitted in the discretion of the Commissioner of Immigration if otherwise admissible. 14. Persons coming to perform unskilled manual labor in pursuance of a promise or offer of employment express or implied, but this provision shall not apply to persons bearing passport visas authorized by Section 20 of this Act as amended by Republic No. 503, Section 10. 15. Persons who have been excluded or deported from the Philippines, but this provision may be waived in the discretion of the Commissioner of Immigration, provided, however, that the Commissioner of Immigration shall not exercise his discretion in favor of aliens excluded or deported on the ground of conviction or any crime involving moral turpitude or for any crime penalized under Sections 45 and 46 of this Act, or on the ground of having engaged in hoarding, black marketing, or profiteering unless such aliens have previously resided in the Philippines immediately before their exclusion or deportation for a period of 10 years or more, or are married to a native Filipino woman as amended by Republic Act No. 503, Section 10. 16. Persons who have been removed from the Philippines at the expense of the government of the Philippines as indigent aliens under the provisions of Section 43 of this Act, and who have not obtained the consent of the Board of Commissioners to apply for admission. And lastly, persons not properly documented for admission as may be required under the provision of this Act. Next, Section 37. The following aliens shall be arrested upon the warrant of the Commissioner of Immigration or of any other officer designated by him for the purpose and deported upon the warrant of the Commissioners of Immigration after a determination by the Board of Commissioners of the existence of the grounds for deportation as charges against the alien. So the Philippines has a strict immigration system, limiting entry to individuals who enter through false statements, are not lawfully admissible, commit crimes involving moral turpitude, violate drug laws, practice prostitution, support government overthrow, or are affiliated with organizations supporting such doctrines. Additionally, those convicted of the Philippine Alien Registration Act of 1941, profiteering, hoarding, or black marketing are also barred. Next, Section 25. For the purpose of determining whether aliens arriving in the Philippines belong to any of the classes excluded by the immigration laws, the examining immigration officers may order such aliens detained on board the vessel bringing them or in such other place as the officers may designate such detention to be for a sufficient length of time to enable the officers to determine whether they belong to an excluded class and their removal to such other place to be at the expense of the vessel bringing them. So next, the following grounds for the issuance of a whole departure order are applicable to both Filipinos and foreigners, and these are A. Pursuant to a court order in a criminal or habeas corpus case, B. Pursuant to a standing warrant or order of arrest, C. When the aggrieved adverse party is the government or of any its agencies, and D. Subject to the provision of existing laws where the national interest, national security, public safety, or public health is involved. A. When a criminal or deportation case is pending against the aliens. Hence, a whole departure order against a Filipino or foreigner will restrict the right to travel unless lifted by the Bureau of Immigration. So next, Philippine passport holders shall, in addition to their passports, present the following documents. A. For contract workers, they must present an overseas employment certificate from the Philippine Overseas Employment Agency. B. For tourist, the immigration officer must ensure that the passenger has a sound trip ticket aside from a valid and genuine passport. C. For government employees, they shall present an approved authority to travel. 2. Foreign passport holders. A tourist who stayed for more than 6 months must present a regular immigration clearance certificate issued by the Bureau of Immigration. B. Permanent temporary residents. They shall present immigration clearance certificate and re-entry permit. RP for permanent residents or special return certificate. RC for temporary residents. Non-compliance with the foregoing requirement shall be a ground for denying clearance to a departing passenger. And that's all for my report in Chapter 16. Once again, this is Jeneriel Cagas from BSHM 3B. Thank you and God bless.